Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Last, current, next. I've got some thoughts about my last read. I'm enjoying my current read and I need some help choosing my next read, so starting with the book that I finished last, and that is Soul Searching by Lyla Sage. If you've heard the name Lyla Sage before, then you've probably heard it in connection with the Rebel Blue Ranch series, of which my favorite was Swift and Saddle, but I also did a video ranking those. So yeah, that's probably how you've heard Lyla Sage before. Think very Elsie Silver-esque. She released the start of a new Sweetwater Peak series, and the first book in the series is called Soul Searching. Let's just be upfront and honest. I gave this book 2 stars and I didn't like it. The book is about Collins and the male main character whose name I constantly forget. I think that it's Brady. Okay, so this book is about Collins and Brady. It's a paranormal small town romance. Initially, the premise kind of drew me in. I don't know that I just love small town romances, but I'm trying to at least understand them and enjoy them. So Collins, the female main character of the story, has a twin, and both of them can communicate with ghosts. They've been able to do that their whole lives. But Collins has left Wyoming and she's lost the ability to communicate with ghosts, and she's trying to kind of get that back. I guess she did get it back, but I really kind of zoned out at a certain point in the story. Brady is your hurt, emotional lover boy. Something I found interesting about him was that he was like an upholsterer. That I remember about him, but not his name. And this isn't necessarily a problem with the story that Lyla Sage wrote, and more of a problem with what it feels like is happening to romance books and interconnected standalones in general. If you are going to write an interconnected standalone, the key word should be standalone, okay? You should not be using the first book in a series for a vehicle to set up the rest of your series. And even furthermore, some books should be standalones, okay? We don't need a multiverse for every single author. Sometimes you can write a good story and leave it there. We don't need to see. Everything is given to you now in romances. There's no yearning. You just know that these two characters are gonna be together. There's no like back and forth. There's nothing. Even in this story specifically, there was no third act breakup, which in my opinion, she actually had a reason to be upset with him and break up with him, but she laughed it off and said, "Ha, we're fine." So that was pretty questionable. Even the epilogue, again, wasn't about Collins and Brady, but about setting up the next book, which is Collins' twin sister's book. So setting that up for the next book. And again, like, writing series is okay, but I should still be able to read book 1 or any book in your series without feeling like the purpose of this book was literally just to set up a series, huh? And that's exactly how this story felt. Personally, I think I'm okay not reading Lyla Sage's new releases. Next, the book that I'm currently reading and loving is If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. This was sent to me by Berkeley, so shout out Berkeley for sending me a free finished copy. But I believe this was indie published at first and then picked up by them because people loved it, and I see why. Slow burn fall romance set in 1997, which is honestly a nice little touch because I wasn't realizing, that there were no phones and people were calling like a landline to speak to some of the characters. So that's been a fun little escapism element, if you will. But I'm 31% into this book, and this is about Michelle and Cliff. Cliff is a single dad. He has 2 daughters, Emily, who's 16, and Brittany, who's 6, and I honestly might have switched those. Him and his ex-wife, they had a teen pregnancy. His ex-wife became resentful to the oldest daughter. They obviously divorced, but he's a baker in this small town living with his daughters. And then Michelle was married to Alan, but Alan cheated with a younger woman. They divorced. Michelle's mom also passed away at the start of the story. and she is now running the B&B that her mom ran. So it was called Bird and Breakfast. She is now running the bed and breakfast. And this is the dog, Rocket. Rocket was Alan's dog, but Alan, you know, Alan left everything, his ex-wife and the dog. Something that Alan told her in the prologue was like, you're meant to be alone. You're gonna be alone. So she's kind of carrying that around with her and feeling like she's not a good enough person to be loved, and figuring out all those feelings and how she can not only be a friend to others, but just be more friendly in general. And then Cliff is funny, he's laid back, and I'm sure that he's gonna absolutely pull that out of her. I usually do not enjoy single dad romances and almost kind of try to stay away from them. And even here, like usually I don't even know they're single dad until I get into the story. And that's what happened here, but I'm not even upset at it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm taking it slow because, again, I do want to just savor it, and I know that it's going to be a 5-star read. It's also worth noting that I'm really enjoying the narration of the story as well, because sometimes that can really take you out of it. But so far, I've just loved everything about the story, and I cannot wait to tell you guys about this in a wrap up sometime soon. I kind of want some help picking my next read. I've got 4 books that I've been absolutely eyeballing, so let me know down in the comments what you know about these, if you recommend any of these, just general thoughts, and kind of help me narrow down what I want to pick up next. This book I've had for a while. I also think this was a gifted copy from the publisher, so it's just been sitting and waiting for me to get to it. It's been compared to Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and she also has endorsed this book. But this is Did You Hear About Kitty Karr by Crystal Smith Paul. This is about the infamous Kitty Karr, who was a white woman, and that is in quotations because I feel like there's more to this story, but she leaves her fortune to 3 black women. And this is set in like old Hollywood, so obviously people are like, what is a white woman doing giving her money to 3 black women? So I'm guessing this book is about how all that unfolds, maybe finding out things about Kitty. Drama is probably gonna ensue. I currently have 2 Toni Morrison books in my collection, The Bluest Eye and Beloved, and I need to read one. I need to read one soon. I hopefully will read both, but tell me where to start. I like how the spines go together. I feel like both of these books comment on elements of race and racism. Beloved mentions of slavery, different things like that. So I do want to read both ultimately and at some point, but I'd like to know where to start. What do you guys think? Have you read these before? Which one did you enjoy? Kind of what should I expect? If you were me, which one would you pick up first? Kind of in a similar note, I have Kindred by Octavia Butler. I picked this up earlier this year from a little free library and have been wanting to read it ever since. I know that they also made a show about this book. What's drawing me to this, maybe a little bit more so than these or the other ones, is the science fiction element. These themes are heavier, obviously, but sometimes a science fiction element can put a nice little, I don't think I'm explaining this right, but sometimes the science fiction element can give you a little bit of escapism when you're still talking about these heavy topics. I'd say that I'm most drawn to Kitty Karr and Kindred, but I think I just need a push to read the Toni Morrison. So like I said, if you guys have read either of these before or any of these, just let me know your thoughts in general. I'm always curious to know what you guys think about what I'm reading. All right, guys, we kept it short and cute today. I hope that you enjoyed this video of what is going on currently in my bookish space. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and that you like the video, that you follow me on TikTok, Goodreads, Instagram. All of those are linked in the description down below. And make sure you tell me what I should read next. Okay, see you in the next video.